I'm not a fan of where the car industry is trending towards these days. The combined burdens of emissions and safety regulations has led to downsized engines, increased electronics, and a general aversion to making the sort of fun, interesting, specialized cars that you and I might want to go and drive just for the heck of it.
Soul and charm are becoming increasing rarities in modern car world. So just as watch lovers adore mechanical timepieces, so too do I adore this, the Lotus Exige Sport 350. Now, we're all quite familiar with the Exige recipe by now, mostly because it's been more or less the same for the past 20 years. Performance through lightness has always been the Lotus way, and the Exige is as bare bones as any car in 2020 can be.
Touchscreen display, leather upholstery, active safety systems, electric mirrors, adaptive dampers, even power steering. These are all part of the extensive list of features that the Exige doesn't have. This car really is an analog anachronism in a digitized world, and that is exactly what makes it so compelling.
Now, I can't even begin to tell you how much of an effect a lack of weight has on performance. The 3.5-litre supercharged V6 behind me produces about 350 horsepower, 400 Nm of torque, which by 2020 standards is not that impressive. There are plenty of hot hatches which can match or even surpass that figure. But this engine only has got 1.1 tons of weight to lug around. And as a result, acceleration, savage. Woohoo! Yeah! Brilliant!
In fact, your neck will get a serious workout no matter what you're doing, as my colleague Marcus shall now demonstrate.
How's that? So, if you ever wondered what it's like being a bobblehead, buy a Lotus. Of course, you have the confidence to make maneuvers like that in the Exige because you get so much feedback coming back at you through the car. I know Mercedes and BMWs these days have got smart, AI digital assistants in their infotainment systems, but the Exige communicates so much more to the driver than any of them without saying a single word. The steering is like braille for drivers. You can read so much information about the road and the grip levels through the tips of your fingers. Just tip it into a bend, and the steering just weighs up beautifully as the cornering forces increase. But when the steering suddenly goes light and it communicates really effectively. So when it goes light, that's when you know that you've exceeded the grip levels of the tyres. With such clarity and volume of information being fed back at you from pretty much all directions, you really do feel hardwired into the Exige like pretty much nothing else on the road. And what that means is that for spirited driving such as this, it becomes nothing more than an instinctive affair.
And speaking of connection,
I touched on the beauty of mechanical watches earlier, and this shifter is just like that. One of the best since the open-gated shifters from Ferraris and Lamborghinis of yesteryear. The mechanism is totally exposed. You can see all the linkages, the plates, the arms, the rods in action as you roll the lever through the gears. It feels amazing too, really involving and quite substantial, like solid metal plates clacking against each other. I've always felt that engineering done right can be just as much an art as it is a science, and this shift mechanism is a masterpiece.
apart from that, there's not much else with the cabin, just aircon, a radio, electric windows, and some carpeting. But that said, with a little bit of effort, you could potentially live an Exige every day.
Just gonna pop into the supermarket for a little grocery run. Just some groceries for the week. Toilet paper, drinks, canned food, vegetables, most important of all, eggs for the cake my mom's gonna bake. Oh shit, the eggs! No! Mum is not going to be pleased with that. Jokes aside, the Exige isn't actually that horrendous to live with on a daily basis. The ride, although quite firm, is surprisingly supple. One of those magical compromises that only the wizards in Lotus's suspension department can come up with. The seats as well, even though they look about as plush and inviting as a sheet of cardboard, are actually fantastically comfortable and very supportive, especially around your lower back area. The high side sills are a surprisingly effective place to put daily items like your phone or your wallet, where your knee can stop it from sliding around too much. And if you remember your driving teacher instructions about turning the wheel off stationary, you can actually park the car quite easily, even if you have noodle arms like mine.
Hardcore as the Exige Sport 350 is, it isn't even the craziest one. Ask the local Lotus dealer nicely enough and they'll sell you an Exige Sport 410 or even a Cup 430, which come with forged wheels, adjustable dampers, heavy-duty cooling, an upgraded clutch, more aggressive aero, and of course, more power. Think of it then as the Lotus equivalent to a 911 GT3 and GT3 RS, only half as expensive.
With the way emissions regulations are going, and the constant drive towards electrification, cars like this, with such a singular focus on performance, are not long for this world. Lotus itself has said that, with the exception of its upcoming 2021 model, codenamed Type 131, all of its future cars will feature electrification of some kind. To what extent that will apply to the next Elise and Exige, or if there even will be a new Elise and Exige, remains to be seen. But what I'm quite certain about is that when this generation goes, it will truly be the end of an era for performance cars. So, if you really love driving and you can afford one, get one while you still can.